5 must-know tips for beginners starting the gym in 2023. So make sure you watch all the way to the end of this video because every tip needs to be applied for you to reach your fitness goals. So without further ado, let's get into the tips. So tip 1, how often to train. So most people train between 3 and 6 times a week, but as a beginner, I recommend that you train more towards 3 and 4 times a week. Obviously, it all depends on what plan you're using, which muscles you're training on which days, but as a beginner, I'd recommend between 3 and 4 times per week. I recommend that you train in these sessions between 40 minutes and around an hour and a half to make sure you don't overdo the training, because we don't want to cause ourselves any long-term injuries that could come up in the future and make your gym experience not a very good one, and that's not what we want. Moving on to tip 2, we have rep ranges based on goals. So most people train between the rep ranges of around 3 and sort of 15 reps, and you've got to choose which rep ranges are the best for you based on what goals you have. So for example, if your goal was strength, you might choose a lower rep range. If your goal was hypertrophy, aka getting bigger or looking bigger, then it would be between sort of 8 and 12 reps. And if you're going for muscular endurance, I don't know what you'd want to use that for, maybe like cycling or something like that. But yeah, if muscular endurance is your goal, I recommend using a higher rep range. One thing that should be noted here is if you're doing more towards strength training, it doesn't mean you have to use between 3 and 5 reps on every exercise. A lot of the exercises you'll sort of mix and match. So on the main lifts like squat, bench and deadlift, you'll do between 3 and 5 reps. But when it comes to your accessory lifts, so say on a deadlift day, you're training your lats, for example, you'll do more likely than 3 to 5, you'd do sort of 8 to 12 reps more in that hypertrophy zone to target the lats. So tip 3, which muscle groups to work together for the best results. So a few muscle groups work really well together. For example, chest and triceps work really well together because when you're bench pressing, which is the main exercise for your chest, you're also using your triceps whilst doing that. So chest and triceps go well, and that tends to go with back and biceps. So if you're doing lat pull downs, for example, for back and biceps, that'll work both. And then legs and shoulders are just sort of like what's left over. So that's one way you could set up your program with chest triceps one day, back biceps another day, and legs and shoulders another day. That's what I did for actually quite a while, quite a few months, and it worked very well for me. Another way you can do it is push-pull legs. So a lot like chest, triceps, back, biceps, leg, shoulders. You move the leg, shoulders, so you move the shoulders to the chest workout. So you're doing chest, triceps, shoulders, back, biceps, and then legs. 3 separate days, obviously chest, triceps, shoulders on one day, back, biceps on another day, and then legs on its own separate day. That is also another way to do it. But what I recommend that you do, starting off, is either do upper lower workouts, so upper body mixed with lower body workouts 4 times a week, or full body workouts 3 times a week, just to get you going. That's what I did for my first few months of training. And I feel full body 3 times a week is how everyone should start their lifting journey. So tip 4, we have progressive overload. Progressive overload is where you train harder than last time, lift heavier than last time, and do better than last time. So if every day you increase your bench or your squat or your deadlift or whatever, every time you come in the gym, by literally the smallest amount of weight, 1.25 kilogram plate on each side, then that is how you make progress over a long period of time. Because that 1.25 kilos on each side right now might not be a lot of weight, but over the months and over the years, it builds up and you make tremendous progress. If you're not already progressively overloading, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you do so, because as a beginner, this should be the easiest thing to do. Lift more and more and more every time. It'll be so easy as a beginner. You should be able to add that 1.25 kilo plate every single session. And if you do, you will get a lot stronger and a lot bigger. So moving on to the 5th and final tip, use compound lifts to gain size and muscle very fast. So compound lifts are the squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press. There are a few others, but those are the main and the most popular ones. Now these are called compound lifts because they use a compound or loads of different muscles. So if you're new to the gym and you want to get bigger or you want to get stronger, the best way to do that is to train compound lifts, because you're training loads of muscles at once, and that way you'll gain size and you'll gain strength very fast. So this is where you'd use those tips from earlier about rep ranges. If your goal was more towards strength, then you'd use a lower rep range of sort of 3 to 5 reps on these compound lifts. If your goal was more towards hypertrophy, then you'd use sort of 8 to 12 reps on these lifts. Now, I don't know if many people do these lifts for muscular endurance. I haven't really seen it before, but also if you want to do that, I guess you could do 15 plus reps on these as well. So in conclusion, tip 1, how often to train. Tip 2, rep ranges based on goals. Tip 3, which muscle groups train well together. Tip 4, progressive overload. And tip 5, compound lifts for muscle size and strength. Now, if you guys did like this video, I'd really appreciate if you dropped it a like and maybe subscribed. And if you want to check out any of my other videos, there should be 2 up on your screen now. If you want to click on one of those and see what else I'm doing, that would be greatly appreciated as well. And if you found any of these tips useful, please let me know down in the comments, just to let me know I'm making a good video. If it's a bad video, let me know down in the comments as well. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.